We'll start about July 1993. I was in a dead-end summer job that I thought was going to be super cool. You guys ever have one of those, like, this is going to be the best moment ever in high school, and I was going to go away to camp, and I was going to have the camp experience for the entire summer. What I didn't realize was the camp experience needed janitors. And so my summer was 40 hours a week of cleaning bathrooms. There were two sets of bathrooms. There were guys' bathrooms and girls' bathrooms, and on exciting weeks, we got to clean both. So we'd been in this experience for about 8 weeks, and we finally had an entire 2 days off back to back. And a couple of other janitors and I, actually there were 5 of us, decided that we were gonna go for a wild weekend. We were in northern New Mexico, and at the time, this place called Red River was a ski area, and they had come up with this incredible idea where you could take mountain bikes and ride them down ski trails. Now, many of you are aware this is now a thing, but we had never done this before, and my roommate and best buddy at the time had this 1966 Mustang that he and his dad had spent all summer the year before converting. It was absolutely pristine. It was this shiny white Mustang with red leather interior, and because we were in New Mexico, this entirely not factory, fake, original AC system. It was beautiful. And so we got in this car with 4 of our high school guy friends and decided that we would drive the hour and a half to Red River, New Mexico. It was incredible. If you've never been in a Mustang with 5 guys, you should avoid that experience. They are not built for 5 guys. But it was cool. So we left work and we went by the camp that we were at, and we picked up mountain bikes to ride down ski trails. They were by this fancy French mountain bike company. Perhaps you've heard of them, Huffy. And we strapped the Huffy mountain bikes to the back of a white Mustang on a bike rack that no newly converted white Mustang has ever had to endure before. And so we're driving through the mountains of New Mexico. The Mustang is sitting lower than it should and further back than it should, because if you've never ridden a Huffy mountain bike, they're not exactly built out of high-tech ultralight materials. And so about 11 o'clock that night, we finally arrived in Red River, New Mexico, realizing that in our hubris, we had failed to realize that we had nowhere to sleep. I guess we just sort of assumed that all five of us would sleep in the Mustang. This is also not a thing. High mountain, New Mexico, light rain, 11 o'clock at night as we settled down to sleep in the Mustang. That lasted about 45 minutes before the humidity level in the Mustang was such that there was virtual steam rolling out of the cracked windows of the car, because we couldn't lower the windows of the Mustang too far because my buddy was trying to take care of the car, granted not by not strapping mountain bikes to the back of it, but we didn't want to get water on the leather, and so you could only unroll the windows about 1.5 inches or so. And so with the steam rolling out of the car at about 12:30 in the morning, I decided that I had had enough and I was going to sleep under the car. The clearance on a 1966 Mustang is not sufficient for sleeping under a car. For the record, if you're really motivated, if it's high mountain New Mexico weather and it's raining on you, you can jam about 18 inches of your body under the car. And so my face got really comfortable with the gravel, and the top 18 inches of my body stayed relatively dry, and I dozed off in the rain, only to be awoken at about 6:30 in the morning when the other guys in the car also woke up and began to make the car move virtually on top of me. And so we piled out of the car and did our best to twiddle our thumbs while we waited for the ski lift to open. And we took our mountain bikes later that morning and we loaded them on the ski lift. And some guy had the brilliance to bend pipe in like an S-curve. And you could ride the lift, not like you would now, but like you would then, where you sat on the same lift as your bike. You just had to loop your hand over the back and hold the bike so you didn't drop it on the people below you. So we rode up to the top of the lift, and the five of us are at the top of this mountain bike trail, Reed ski trail, probably first summer ever. And the only trail markings that they had were ski markings. And so we started talking to ourselves and saying, like, how good are we at this? And we were like, well, I mean, one, we're teenage guys, so we are absolutely invulnerable. Two, we can all ride bikes on level ground. And most of us have grown up skiing, so we'll be amazing. So we decided we should warm up slowly. We took a couple of green runs. Things were going well. No one had died. And we decided that we would take the blue run down on the mountain bike. And it was on this blue run down that I learned perhaps one of the clearest lessons about the fact that there is a way that seems right to a man, but it leads to death. If you've ever heard that scripture reference, it's absolutely true. We started down this bike trail, and it was one of the primary bike trails in this ski area. And if I'm just being clear, like, if you've never ridden a huffy bike, suspension's not a thing, right? By that point in the morning, which was like third run down, we had completely sanded through anything that looked like a brake pad on these bikes. So stopping was kind of a suggestion that made the bike whine at you. That's really all it was. But it's cool because we didn't want to go slow. But we're cruising down this blue trail, and it's beyond bumpy. Sort of that like feeling, right? And I looked over at my buddies, and we're all pounding down this bouncy mountain bike gravel trail. And I looked to my right, and to my right is this beautiful open expanse of like thigh-high golden grass. And I thought to myself, that's a better idea. And while my buddies, morons that they were, continued to put up with the gravel track, I swerved out into the grass. And as I watched them pounding down the trail and sailed through this smooth grass, I thought to myself, I am brilliant. They're morons. I can go so much faster than they can. In fact, this is so smooth, I'll make it to the bottom of the hill way before they do. In fact, I don't even have to deal with that bridge. Why is there a bridge? It was in that moment that I realized that their bridge crossed a creek, which was roughly the size and depth of a huffy mountain bike front tire. And in that moment, the bike hit the bottom of the creek. The handlebars of the bike bounced off my shins, and in an incredible moment of human athleticism, I landed on the other side of the creek at a dead run. And I thought to myself, I am an athletic god. And I looked at my buddies as if to say, do you see this? And they were laughing and pointing above me. And it took me a microsecond to realize that they're all looking up, and perhaps I should do the same. And in the moment that I looked up, I beheld the beauty of a huffy mountain bike as it cartwheeled in the air above me and pancaked to the ground in front of me. And my human athletic godness of a run became one with man and steel as we cartwheeled down the hill together. And as my friends separated me from the bike at the bottom of the hill, it occurred to me that perhaps the bumpy path is not always a bad plan.